Hey everybody, I'm Anne-Christine Diaz, creativity editor at Ad Age, coming to you from Los Angeles, and I'm here with...
I am Alexandra Jardine, associate creativity editor at Ad Age, and I'm coming to you from London.
And I'm Ethan Sherwood, associate creativity editor, coming to you from New York.
And we are here together once again to count down the best ideas of the week. And this is our second top 5 of the year, which feels strange because it feels like this year has already been 6 months long.
Right, like our 9th top 5 of the year.
Yeah. But thanks to all of you who are joining. Make sure to say hi in the comments and we'll give you a shout out. We're so happy to have you here once again. And so Ishan's going to kick it off for us today.
All right, so at number 5, we've got new work from the advocacy organization Science Moms. It's not a great time for experts these days. They often get ignored, but this work from Joan Creative makes the point that you listen to, okay, maybe not doctors, but you listen to your doctor. You listen to your plumber when they say, hey, don't do this, or, you know, the sewer's going to back up into your bathroom. So why don't you listen to climate scientists? Let's take a look.
If an entire neighborhood's worth of doctors told you your mole was cancerous,
yes, that's cancer.
Would you keep it?
I'm not cancerous.
If an entire town's worth of mechanics said you needed new brakes, would you be like, yeah, I'm good? If an entire city's worth of plumbers told you not to use paper towels when you run out of TP,
don't do it.
Would you keep flushing them? If an entire country's worth of fitness instructors said you were lifting wrong,
you're lifting wrong,
would you risk it and mess up your body? If an entire planet's worth of scientists agreed that climate change is real, would you ignore them? Because you know there ain't no coming back from this, right? Over 99% of climate scientists agree that climate change is here. It's man-made, and it's only getting worse. Go to ScienceMoms.com to take action.
You have this nice juxtaposition of like the very serious message of like, oh, the world is going to be on fire. And then like the cartoony kind of like Simpsons-like animation, which like I always felt like the Simpsons was able to make political points because it was a cartoon and people didn't take it seriously. And then that seeped into their brains. Yeah.
And I think that's what this does, but also coupled with this very simple, straightforward premise. Like you listen to these people every single day. Why don't you just take these experts more seriously? It's so basic, but then enhanced by these outrageous, cataclysmic scenarios, which I really loved.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's such a persuasive argument, but at the same time, you've got this kind of like gruesome animation. It reminds me a little bit of the Dumb Ways to Die from about 10 years ago, with like limbs falling off and things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much saying like, dummy. Like, don't be a dummy, you know. You listen to these people. The one scenario I did question, though, was in the gym guy. Like, how many people do you see at the gym, like, who are like, ugh, or like, ugh, or like totally like doing bad form, but trying to look all like hot and macho.
Are you a form judger at the gym, Anne? Is that what you do? You just quietly, silently like.
Yeah, when I used to go. When was that, like a billion years ago?
I think, I don't know if this was intended, but I do feel like a person watching this might be like, yeah, you're right. But then see one of these scenarios and think of someone that they know who actually wouldn't listen, like, oh, my idiot friend isn't going to get their brakes fixed no matter what.
Oh, true.
And then that sort of like serves to reinforce like, oh, but I'm not an idiot like my friend.
Yeah. But anyway, that animation was done by Serge Seidlitz, and the animation studio behind it was Bewilder. So that was just excellent work all around. So thanks for that bright moment to open our top 5 with. Actually, it's bright and dark, light and dark.
Yeah.
Like a black and white cookie.
Yeah, which are my favorite, by the way. So let's move on to dating or not dating.
Yeah, so at number 4 this week, we've got a campaign from Tinder. And you might think you know what Tinder's all about, but this is a new campaign from Thailand that's trying to expand its reach and challenge some of what you think you know. It comes from Wonderman Thompson, Bangkok, and it aims to reposition the app from the hookup enabler to a new way of making platonic friends. And it sort of reconfigures some of the shorthand for dating as well to take on some new meanings. Let's have a look.
ถ้าช่วงเนี้ยคุณกำลังเหงาขอแนะนำให้คุณเปิด Tinder แล้วก็เหมือนเดิม Swipe Match Chat แล้วก็นัดกันไปมีเพื่อนสัมพันธ์ฮะเดี๋ยวเข้าใจผิดแล้วล่ะครับผมเพื่อนสัมพันธ์คืออะไรวะ
เพื่อนสัมพันธ์แปลว่าเพื่อนที่มีความสัมพันธ์กันแบบเพื่อน
ขอบคุณน้องมาเนียตัดมาทางนี้
เอาเลยไหมอ่ะ
ไม่รู้เหมือนกัน
เอาสิคะ
ไม่ว่าจะเป็นเพื่อนแบบ Indoor Stadium หรือเพื่อนกันแบบ No Door นี่แบบ ONS ก็มีฮะ ONS นะฮะ ไป ONS กัน yeah แบบวันไหนสตรีทฟู้ดคิดเรื่องบนสะดือบ้างก็ได้นะพวกเรา หรือจะมีเพื่อนสัมพันธ์กันแบบ FWB ย่อมาจาก Friend with Beats yeah Friend with Board Game เป็นไงผู้ชายน่าจั่วไหมก็จั่วดิ Friend with Boba Tea ไข่มุกอร่อย so ไม่ว่าคุณจะมีรสนิยมทางเพื่อนแบบไหนเหงาเมื่อไหร่ก็ swipe แล้วคุณก็จะได้มีเพื่อนสัมพันธ์กับเพื่อนใหม่อีกเพียบ Tinder แอปหาเพื่อนสัมพันธ์
I don't know about you, but I want a friend with boba tea, whatever that is. There's some interesting background behind this. It was actually based on some research showing that Gen Z was the most likely to quit the app because they would rather not take up in this sort of hookup culture. But those who stayed from that age group were actually using it for non-dating purposes. And that was the audience that they wanted to target. So that's why they went down that route.
Yeah, that was really interesting to use that insight, actually use the behavior that was already existing on the platform to broaden Tinder's reach. The campaign actually reminds me of the OkCupid DTF campaign from Wyden in Kennedy, New York, where they took DTF, which we know we typically think of as down to fuck, as down to so many other things. But I think that one was still mostly focused on dating.
Yeah.
So so this was a nice different way of expanding on that idea.
Yeah, and I think it's also quite suitable for kind of COVID times because, you know, you might be looking to meet new friends online because you can't meet them anywhere else.
Yeah.
It was a really nice use of like visual innuendo, right?
Yes.
Like we know what you're thinking and we're going to go there and then, you know, we're going to sort of pivot from there. I do wonder if we're starting to see the beginning of like alternate uses for these sites simply because lots of people just kind of aren't hooking up. Like, I mean, this is like an off-brand use, but people were using Bumble to switch their political preferences to conservative in order to catfish men who were at the Capitol riots and then turn them into the FBI. So also useful.
Oh, actually, that's a good tip. Can we extend something to think about there? But also just the visuals too, how the scenarios start out really suggestive, like the gamers turn out to be actually gaming, but in the end, you still get the sexual innuendo from the way it's framed. So it's still speaking to the Tinder audience that is looking to hook up in a way as well. So I thought that was pretty clever.
Right, like maybe it'll go there.
Yeah. I wonder how much is this about like kind of like slowly getting into dating versus like straight up hookup, you know?
Right.
I mean, you might want to play a board game first before you get.
Yeah, it's a smart way to be like, just use the app, please.
Yeah. It's just Tinder is now a foreplay app. Anyway, we have some shout outs. We have Erdem from the Netherlands, Jahangir from Finland, Abigail from North Carolina, Esteban from Argentina, Yvette from Illinois, Sarah Lynn from Texas, Niels from Denmark, and Mans from Sweden. Hey all, thanks for joining us.
Everyone.
So moving on to number 3, we have a series of PSAs from Pfizer and BioNTech, who have developed a vaccine, as well as a consortium of different medical organizations like the Black Nurses Association and an association of emergency room doctors and a few others. And it's basically a vaccine confidence campaign that reminds you of what life used to be like before the pandemic. So let's take a look at a couple of those. And there's one more I wanted to take a look at. That line on the last one just killed me, because hellos have gotten too rare and goodbyes have gotten too hard. So this was from Mischief at No Fixed Address. And what struck me about these is that, like, from the vaccine campaigns that we've seen so far, which have been straight up ads, these are PSAs, granted. Those ads have been just, pretty dry and straight up scientific. Like, there was an earlier campaign from Pfizer that promoted the idea of science, but these campaigns go straight to the heart, and it's almost like they pull you back to the beginning of the pandemic. When we were seeing all these emotional ads, there was so much found footage, but with these, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. So like the end line reads, "Science can make this possible, but you can make it real. So it's up to you." So I just was really moved by these. I don't know, maybe it's just because the pandemic is hitting really hard in Los Angeles. So
yeah,
I'm feeling the weight of it. And you too, Alex, in the UK.
Yeah, and it's such a kind of universal kind of human message, because there's so much talk about vaccines and different groups. There was an item on the news here this morning about certain communities in the UK who are more likely to believe false information about vaccines because of religious reasons. But at the end of the day, we're all human and we all want to see each other. That is such a universal thing.
Yeah. And that reminder of what life used to be like. Like, life is so hard and strange right now, but things used to be so easy. Hugs used to be so easy. Parties used to be so easy. Play dates used to be so easy. And now it's just like, it brings you back. So I mean, when was the last time we had a pharma ad on Top 5? Yeah.
It also sort of points out like the very strong, succinct copywriting. Like, each one of these has a couple of lines, and that's it over top of this found footage. But that's really what makes it.
Yeah, and then the setup too of the copy, it's an answer first and then a question. So it kind of adds this bit of suspense. Like, what are you getting at? And
I will also choose to believe it's an Alex Trebek tribute. So just go on.
Oh, Alex. But anyway, nice work from Mischief at No Fixed Address. So next up
we have a campaign from the UK. It comes from a brand called Rebel Kitchen, which it has a plant-based dairy alternative product, and they're doing a campaign for Veganuary, but the billboards have these hidden messages which if you go on social media, you can actually see that they read something slightly different, and they are basically insulting Donald Trump. There is one that when you take out a certain word, it says F off Trump, and the other one says Trump's an ass. This obviously, I don't know whether this would have worked in the US because it would have alienated half the voters. But I think here you can get away with that because there are not many Trump supporters in the UK. But even so, it's been pretty controversial. It's attracted a lot of comments, I know, on the Ad Age Instagram. Obviously from some Trump supporters, but I think I've seen comments on Twitter as well. People are saying that it's rude, it's a cheap shot, they maybe a kind of obvious thing to do. But I don't know. I think I don't know what you guys think. I think it's quite clever.
I think it's interesting how certain brands are just coming out really strong with their own messages and their stances. Like Ben and Jerry's, for example, who came right out calling for impeachment, and Patagonia from last year putting on their clothing tags what they feel about people who deny climate change. So I'm wondering if we're going to see more of this. That's kind of why I wanted to highlight this one, the bravery of certain brands of like coming out from the get-go with a certain stance, because Rebel Kitchen, I believe, is very environmentally conscious as well. And I think their messages before this were more focused on that. So they just took a step further.
I think sometimes, okay.
No, I was just going to say that, they're quite a small brand, I think not particularly well known. And I wonder whether some of the kind of negative comments they've got is because of that. I wonder if a better known brand, say Brewdog or maybe French Connection back in the old days, had come out with it, people would be going, oh, that's so cool. But because no one's really heard of them, people are saying, well, who are these people to tell Trump to F off?
I think we forget sometimes that, these brands are made up of a bunch of people who work at them, and so many people are just so angry, and they want to do something. They want to say something, and they're like, well, we have a brand and we have a platform, so, let's go ahead and use it. And it's not necessarily the brand saying something or taking a position. It's all these people being like, it would be weird if we did. It would feel weird to me working at this brand if we didn't do or say something.
We didn't say something.
Yeah,
I also think this
very
could have
topical
worked.
and timely.
I think this could have worked in the US, simply because how many Trump supporters are buying non-dairy milks? Okay,
but how much are they going to broaden their audience, though, if they were to do that? I don't know.
I think also this is yet another example that we've seen a bunch of in the pandemic of, ironically, really strong outdoor work. Which I would not have expected that a year ago, right? But if you are walking by this, the fact that it's sort of two versions, right? You might walk by and not notice it the first time like a regular billboard, but if you happen to see it at night, or when you're just seeing the Trump message, you're like, what the heck is going on? I don't really understand. And the next time you're there, you'll look again, and you'll specifically look at it so that your attention is drawn into it in a way that it basically doesn't happen with outdoor.
Yeah, but I'm not even sure if the hidden messages appeared outdoor.
No, they're not on the billboard. They're only
a mock-up.
Yeah. So
it's on social. So
those are on the Instagram account, and then obviously they've done PR around that so that people know. I think there are. It's not just one billboard. There are 11 billboards around the country, so it's not nothing. But the bigger campaign, the hidden part, is on social media.
Yeah, and that's an interesting strategy too. You grab people from outside and then you draw them into your social where you want them anyway.
Yeah, and also, not many people are looking at billboards at the moment. Let's face it.
Yeah.
they shouldn't be.
At least in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we get to our number one, there are a few others that we want to take a look at. So Cadbury has been in the news recently with an ad for the popular cream egg. Let's take a look at that.
It's the cream egg golden goobly. time to celebrate 5 delicious decades. Snickers! Let loose! Bakers! Bring it! Experts, you have got this! Dippers! Flex that index! Discreeters, come out of your shell! Sharers? Yeah, we are down with that. Calling all exhibitionists. Let the entertainment begin.
Okay, so all of you are probably watching like the first 4/5 of that, wondering why are we talking about this ad? And then you'll see the scene, which is probably like, is why we're talking about this ad. So there's a scene featuring a gay couple sharing a Cadbury egg back and forth between each other. And that caused some controversy, right, Alex? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I think it started on Twitter. There were a couple of kind of homophobic, frankly, comments saying, why do we have to see two men, sharing an egg between their mouths, and, kids are going to be saying this. But then a load of other people weighed in, including celebrities, some of them praising it and saying, no, this is great. And then, but then other people kind of weighing in about the fact that they're sharing this egg between their mouths. That should be what we're worried about, rather than the fact that it's a gay couple. And then there were a lot of very funny comments as well about, why are we objecting to this when Cadbury has done all these other ads over the years? Like there was a famous flake ad of a woman lying in a bath, basically with a flake very suggestively in her mouth. That was a long-running campaign. And then there was the milk tray campaign, where the guy's basically a cross between James Bond and a stalker. So they've done all these kind of like sexually suggestive ads over the years, and then people object to these guys putting a cream egg between their mouths. My thought, when I first saw the ad, I was thinking, God, is this like safe in the age of COVID? But apparently the two actors are a real life couple and they were quarantining together, so it's okay.
I mean, I brought this up to some of our team, and they're like, I just wouldn't share my damn Cadbury egg with anybody. Like, who shares Cadbury eggs?
Yeah.
Like, it's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, this sort of strikes me as like how social media is supposed to work, or maybe how like people who run social media platforms say that social media works, which is like someone posts something, someone else posts something stupid, ridiculous, racist, or homophobic, and then everyone else says, maybe you should shut your mouth. Then we all move on, right? As opposed to the way social media is working these days. So
yeah, could be a strategy.
Yeah, and I think the brand has actually got some really great PR out of it.
Yeah. Oh, so the Cadbury did respond to this, right, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, they basically said they're very proud of it and that it was all made safely, and they explained that it was a real life couple and that they've always been an inclusive brand. That was what they said.
Okay. Go Cadbury.
Yeah. It's too early though. That was my main problem with it.
I know, right?
It's an Easter thing. So why on earth are we talking about it in January? But anyway,
right, we haven't even hit Valentine's Day yet.
Yeah.
Like, why are we talking about cream eggs? Well, I guess the Goobly.
Yeah, it's the 50th anniversary, whatever. And we've got nothing else to do except eat chocolate.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the only gross thing about this entire campaign is the word goobly. So,
that's what they're actually doing. That's a goobly.
That's right. That's what that is.
So we have some more shout outs. Ishan, you want to tell us who's watching?
Yeah, we have Karen from Maryland, Daniel from New York, Yasser from Pakistan, Ari from Washington, Magda from Mexico, Ali from the UAE, and Eric from Utah. Hey, everyone.
Hi, guys. So another campaign we thought was very interesting came from Lenovo, and they did something really interesting with reviews that they were getting on their products. Let's take a look at one of those.
I'm putting attractive yet plainly designed on my Tinder profile, just to meet friends.
Oh my god, the comments on this were hysterical. Like in the background, our team was like, "Woohoo! This is the funniest thing I've seen." And then some of our watchers out there are like, "This is horrible."
It is a reasonable position, Julie.
Yeah. So this is from Swedish agency Aaron Strahl. And I'm probably not pronouncing your name correctly, so apologies. But yeah, so Lenovo wanted to attract gamers, and gamers apparently love heavy metal, or at least maybe in Sweden.
Yeah, apparently heavy metal is really popular in Sweden and Finland, where the ad is running.
Oh,
as well.
So what they did was
Absolutely.
they tapped a real life metal band, Iron Savages, to perform reviews of the Lenovo laptop that were pulled from publications like The Verge.
Yeah, and then The Verge then reviewed the music video, so they kind of got like a double review.
Yeah.
If you think about a lot of heavy metal lyrics, how often is it just like someone reading a Bible verse, or a line from?
Oh.
Oh, he's frozen. We'll never know where the line was from.
Damn, we're missing out on all of Ishan's amazing trivia, and I didn't know that he knew so much about heavy metal verse, because I usually don't pay attention to heavy metal lyrics.
Who knew?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very funny,
metal.
really, isn't it? I mean, to take such kind of, because like computer reviews are pretty boring.
Yeah.
Stuff.
But it's a great example of a brand turning conversation about its product into content and something else. Like we saw a campaign previously from Vita Coco, for example, that took like people who hated on the product and highlighted them. So I just love this idea of taking consumer sentiment out there in the public and transforming it into something else. But anyway, as we wait for Ishan to return, and hopefully he will, let's take a look at one of the first, or maybe this is the first Super Bowl teaser that we've seen in the season.
Yeah, I'll be right down.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I knew it.
So I'd like to ask our audience, what do you guys think?
Yeah, what's going on? What's in the pictures?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher, like how do you go from MC Hammer, which was from last year, which was one of my favorite spots of last year's game, to Ashton Kutcher?
I don't know, with those kind of 6 degrees of separation things, there must be some kind of link.
This has a completely different tone. It's more like suspenseful, and MC Hammer spot was just fun. I don't know. Who knows? This is a teaser. The actual spot could come out completely different. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's some speculation that maybe Mila Kunis is going to be in the eventual ad, but who knows? It could be who was he married to before? Demi Moore.
Oh my God. that would be amazing. But anyway, why is the bag empty?
Yeah.
Did somebody eat it? Oh, maybe the Cheetos Crunch are being held hostage. Anyway, I don't think we even know like who the creators or the agency are behind this. I believe we need Jessica to pop her head in again.
The whole thing is one huge mystery.
Yes. Anyway, so another thing that I wanted to talk about was a Nature Valley spot that we saw. It's more than a spot, actually. It's a music video. Can we play a little bit of that?
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the one who wakes up next to you. When I jump out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the one connecting out here too. Nature Valley, thanks to them, I'm gonna feel the joy exploring this with you. We'll restore 10,000 miles and we'll restore 10,000 more. Nature Valley made these trails accessible, so go explore. When I'm climbing, yes.
Okay, you stopped it from the part right before the part where I started to like the spot.
Right. Once there's more than one David, right? Because you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the Proclaimers. Good.
Yeah. Yeah, so he comes back and then he appears in multiple forms, and there's one scene where like there's like 1 million of him or 5 of him or something, and it kind of reminded me of the like the Muppet video where the phenomena. Yeah. Okay. Like right here. Yeah, or like multiple people popping out of places. Yeah. So anyway, like when I first started to watch the spot, I was super annoyed by it because like, why are you bringing that song back? It annoyed me when it first came out, and now you're recycling it. But then as I watched it, and it just got absurd and funny, I grew to appreciate it. And the fact that it's promoting Nature Valley and its support of national parks, that's an interesting continuation of a brand platform that Nature Valley has had for a while. A few years back, we saw Nature Valley bringing national parks to us via Street View. Yeah, I thought it was nice in the end.
Yeah, there was something really kind of joyful about it. It made me smile.
Yes.
In a kind of smile-free week. So yeah.
Yeah.
As Alfred points out backstage, this is my go-to karaoke song. So I was happy to see it. Oh yeah. Because people just want to yell the chorus drunkenly. It's the thing I miss most.
But don't you need a doppelganger to do it with?
You can always find one.
Once we're out of quarantine, Ishan, we're all gonna converge in the same city, and you're gonna sing this for us.
We'll wear matching outfits and glasses.
You're going to do it on Top 5.
So if you guys want to check out all the winners in full, we're going to pull up a QR code, just snap that, and it'll take you straight to the story. And with that, we have our final spot. Ishan?
So at number 1, it's not always a piece of work for a brand, right? Sometimes creativity is a heartfelt message from someone who knows what they're talking about in a particular moment. So let's watch Arnold Schwarzenegger speak to us.
As an immigrant to this country, I would like to say a few words to my fellow Americans and to our friends around the world about the events of recent days. Now, I grew up in Austria. I'm very aware of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. It was a night of rampage against the Jews carried out in 1938 by the Nazi equivalent of the Proud Boys. Wednesday was the day of broken glass right here in the United States. The broken glass was in the windows of the United States Capitol. But the mob did not just shatter the windows of the Capitol, they shattered the ideals we took for granted. Now you see this sword? This is the Conan sword. Now here's the thing about swords. The more you temper a sword, the stronger it becomes. The more you pound it with a hammer and then heat it in the fire and then thrust it into the cold water and then pound it again and plunge it into the fire and into the water, the more often you do that, the stronger it becomes. I'm not telling you all this because I wanted to become an expert sword maker, but our democracy is like the steel of this sword. The more it is tempered, the stronger it becomes.
I mean, maybe we do need to become expert sword makers right now, okay? Like, if solving our democracy problems were as easy as the riddle of steel, then this would already be over. So,
oh, I thought you were suggesting something else. Like we take swords and storm something, but
I'm just
but
strong defense.
Yeah. But anyway, what was fascinating about this was, this wasn't just a straight up speech. It was like a little bit like a Hollywood production, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we see him sitting in this grand room, and then he lures us in with this really moving story or metaphor or simile set of comparison between, the events at the Capitol and Kristallnacht. But then he tells us a story about his father, which I believe wasn't public before, being abusive to his family as a result of, the stresses of life at the time, and that. So the storytelling itself was really powerful. But then what got me was when the music kicks in, and it feels like it's from the Terminator or even Conan. and then finally there's the moment with the sword. He pulls out the sword. It almost feels like it was going to turn funny at some point. But it wasn't. It's like he was speaking to a specific audience, like there's a specific audience that will probably respond to Conan pulling out his sword, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's deadly serious.
Yeah.
Right, and he picks this character, right? Like, he didn't pick the Terminator. I mean, he has so many iconic roles that he could have tapped into. Cop. Right. totally different audience. But he picks Conan, and I have a feeling like part of it is like, he's speaking to most of us who saw what happened at the Capitol and were disgusted by it and, horrified. But I think he's also kind of speaking to some of the people who were there or sympathize with them, and is saying like, hey, remember me, the guy you probably grew up idolizing? I think what you did is terrible. And here's why. Like, I like that he just opened right up with like, let's do the Nazi comparison, because you can't Godwin's law this. You have to be like, oh, he knows exactly what he's talking about. And if he says this is like Nazis, then he's right.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's who he was speaking to. Like, he doesn't need to speak to people who were already opposed to what happened at the Capitol. He's speaking to the people who were like tempering their swords for a different purpose, right? So anyway, that was just a big surprise for him to come out like that with that very powerful Hollywood style production. And that's it for this week. Hopefully next week we'll have more non-issue related work to talk about. But I feel like this is, stuff that has been out there in the air and really interesting to discuss. And thanks so much to all of you for joining us. And have a great weekend. Keep on watching, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.